You have a legal problem, you go see a lawyer, right? And if you've got some strange mole thing going on in your arm, you go see your doctor, right? So why would you self-medicate or treat yourself by buying your own insurance and creating it on your own? Shouldn't you talk to somebody that is a specialist that knows what we're talking about?
Okay, so for homeowners or home buyers,
Yes.
Sometimes there's a real fuzzy history, especially if it's a flip or elderly mom has passed.
Right.
So there's a real fuzzy history. When was this done, or did this ever happen? Or
Right.
I always wondered why. Sometimes, like when they check with their insurance company, there's no record. That everything says the roof was put on in 20 and there's no record. I guess they paid cash for it. But so can you help homeowners you get all that information?
We can. If there was a claim filed, when we run the reports, it will pull the claims up.
Okay.
And oftentimes, like I had one yesterday with Hartford, they are asking for, was the work completed? Did the client own the home at the time, or was it the prior owners? Some claims follow the house, some claims follow the home buyer.
Okay.
So if it's a water claim, a huge water claim, that water claim will appear on that house.
Okay.
And we need to make sure that the claim has been resolved, the repairs have been done. You can get a statement, you can even submit the formal inspection on the property to show that yes, there's no damage related to this. Acts of God, like when we had the freeze.
Okay, I was going to say water claims, acts of God, they kind of went hand in hand, right?
Right, but a water claim for an overflowing toilet or a dishwasher or a hot water heater or something like that, those aren't considered active gods.
Okay.
Those are considered appliance, mechanical related.
Right. Okay.
So those type of water claims stay with the home.
Okay.
It all depends on the carrier. 3 years, 5 years, 7 years.
Okay.
3 years, the first layer of it basically falls off, but there's still some impact in the rate with certain carriers.
Okay.
At 5 years, most carriers, it doesn't impact it anymore. Some of them go to 7 years. They want 7 years on there where it completely comes off, falls off.
Okay.
You'll still see the claim in the list, but it's not part of the rating that actually goes on it. When there is a roof claim on the house, and suppose there's a roof claim right around the time that the house is being sold. Okay? If the roof has been repaired, you could submit the proof of new roof. It's actually very advantageous to the home buyer.
Right.
Because that risk is now reset at age 0. Okay? So if it was done in 21 or 22, if you can get copies of the work being done, paid in full receipt, and the type of materials that were used. Sometimes there's different classes of shingles that can give you even greater discount. So any information that you can get to paint the full picture is better. That freeze that we had in 2021 where all these pipes burst, and a lot of reasons why a lot of these carriers have left the state of Texas is because of the amount of claims we had in that year with wind and hail, with the freeze, and with hurricane stuff. I mean, it was just a disaster. That actually is an act of God that doesn't really affect them, but they still want to see that the repairs are done. So if somebody files a claim on a house and an adjuster comes out and they look at it and go, your deductible is 1%, it's $5,000. The damage on your roof is $6,000. It's up to you whether or not we're just going to give you a check for $1,000 because that's the difference between your claim and the deductible. If you want to get a $1,000 check and call the roofer out here, we need proof that it's been repaired. I actually have clients work backwards. What we do is a little bit different. If you have a thump in the middle of the night, or there's a real bad hailstorm, or you got a little fender bender ding on the back of your car, I tell the clients, do not call the insurance company, call me. The reason for that is I will get the auto sent to a body shop and have them assess what it's going to be. Then I can have an educated conversation with them. Your deductible is $500. It's going to cost $750 to get this repair done. If you can afford to pay the $750 out of pocket, we won't even involve the insurance company, and you can be made whole. And then when your renewal comes up, they never knew that there was a little fender bender, and it doesn't hit your insurance score, so it doesn't affect your rate.
Yeah.
Same thing with the home. If we send a roofer out there that I've referred clients to forever, they'll go out, they'll walk the roof, they'll do an assessment on whether or not the roof needs to be changed or needs to be repaired or replaced. And then if he determines, yes, there is enough to do there, I will file the claim. If they're happy with that roofer that I sent out there, when the adjuster comes out to the house, I'll make sure that that roofer is there as well. Because I want two guys that speak the same language.
Yes.
Nothing more confusing than a homeowner, and you don't want to get a homeowner up on a roof with an adjuster to look at damage. So, and that roofer is also going to say, yeah, you need a new ridge vent, and you need new flashing, and new turbines and vents.
Bent. And your felt was put on the wrong way when that last time they did the roof. That kind of stuff.
So having those two guys talk to each other, if there is a claim that needs to be done.
And you've got 2 pops in these windows here on this side of the house, you know?
It helps to get the claim complete. If I'm going to file a claim on your roof, and it's a pretty substantial size roof, an elaborate roof, maybe it has a couple of rises in it and has some dormers and stuff and goes over onto the garage and all that. Lots of turns, lots of valleys and all that kind of stuff. You may be looking at $30,000, $35,000 for a decent sized home roof. I want you to get every penny, and I want them to change everything out. So gutters, downspouts, flashing, ridge vent, all the stuff, all the way down to the wood. We're gonna all new felt and everything's gonna be put on there. Then that's the reason why we do the claim in the first place. Now you pay that $5,000 deductible,
and it's covering.
You got a $37,000 roof there. You're getting a check for $32,500. You know, then it makes it more palatable. But if I get my roofer out there, and they're going to be honest, because the only ones I use are the ones that I refer stuff to on a regular basis. They don't want to do a roof that doesn't need to be done. They're not gonna advocate. They've got other roofs to go take care of. So, excuse me, if they're a reputable guy, they are going to say, hey, you just got this one little area that needs to be done. We can address it. We'll send a crew out and pay for it. That way, it doesn't show up as a claim either on their history. But if the roof needs to be redone, I will get the receipt and the proof of the roof that was replaced. I will immediately submit that to the carrier and say, we need to change the roof age, we need adjustment in premium. And so they will actually see some benefit from it.
Some people say, I'm sorry, I didn't
interrupt you. No, you're good.
Some people say, well, I don't want to submit the roof to my insurance because my insurance will go up. Is that true? Like, I thought roofs are kind of like required to protect the house.
They are required to protect the house. It all comes down to whether or not the difference between the deductible and the amount of work that needs to be done makes sense. So having the client call me first and have a professional go out there, I may have a roofer who goes, yeah, we can, you know, it's a small gable style roof. It's just a little ranch. It's going to be $10,000 to replace the roof. They go ahead and pay out of pocket for it to be done. Now, they still should submit the paperwork to me showing the roof can be replaced, so I can reset their age and get them a discount. But there's nothing that says they have to file a claim. Where the claim comes in is where the issue comes in, which changes your insurance score and all that kind of stuff. You have the right to update your electrical, your plumbing, your HVAC, and your roof on your house. You don't have to notify them of everything. But if you do notify them, and it's a little area of damage, that company is going to require, before you renew, proof that work was done, so they can insure the house. So it works both ways. So by us taking the bull by the horns and having the client call us first and make the assessment on whether or not they need to have the work done, helps keep their costs down. Because why file $0 claims have become, you know, when my dad I first realized all this stuff was going on. My dad, we moved from Chicago down here in 1976, and we had a real bad hailstorm. And it really didn't do all that much damage to our house, not to what I could tell. So the adjuster comes out in the house and he goes, "Oh, Mr. Hurd, this roof was put on last year. You don't have any issues with the roof. It's fine." Back then, when the adjuster would come out, if there was no claim, then no harm, no foul.
Right.
We're just going to come out. If you call them and they lean a ladder up against your house, that's a claim. It's a claim.
Oh,
and you'll see it on the insurance report as a $0 claim. But it's still, they came out to investigate claim damage.
Goodness.
And because of doing that, you're subjective to proof that the repair was done and an increase, because now you've increased the risk because there was damage evident on the house.
Right.
So that's why I tell people, don't call the 800 number, call me.
Right.
And we'll figure it out.
That's what I tell people all the time.
Yeah.
Call David. Because he can tell you which way is going to make it smoothest and give you the best advice. Plus, people get frustrated calling those 1-800 numbers.
They do.
The information they're told is different than
Right.
what they have. They get really upset and call me, and I'm like, call the agent.
Here's the benefit of calling me too. I have agent hotlines to go in the back door, to go directly to the department that I want to. Sometimes I'm on hold for 10 or 15 minutes, but I'm working on other stuff and I've got the phone on speaker.
Right.
So when they finally get a hold of me, or I also have agent dedicated chat where I can do a lot of the things right there. And if they tell me I need to speak to somebody else, they'll give me the direct phone number to be able to speak to them. So there's nothing more frustrating than calling the number and hitting 1, and then they go through this whole list of things. Now you get hit 8. And you go through this whole list of things and you hit 4. And they say, well, you're 18th in the queue. It'll be about 10 to 15 minutes before somebody's with you. Who at work has time to be on the phone for an hour?
Or they'll say, put your number in, we'll call you back. And either that call never happens, or by the time they call you back, then you're in the middle of, you can't take the call, you know.
Well, this is what we do on a daily basis. Every single morning, before we start on the other stuff. My job, the way I look at it, is to take care of the clients that we have before we worry about clients that we're working on potentially can be.
Right.
These clients here, if we do a good job taking care of them, they're going to refer other people to us. They're going to talk to us about other lines of business. We reach out to every single client 3 to 4 times a year before their renewals, and we're trying to get to the point, working on it right now with our database, to just call and leave a little message for anniversaries and birthdays and things like that. We don't have it done yet, but we're working on it. But the more points of contact, the more times we reach out to the client and let them know this is a two-way street. We're as invested in you guys as you're invested in us insuring your possessions. That actually goes a long way. And they don't even have to answer the phone. They just can see it on their caller ID or hear a voicemail or something. Right. And we're reaching out to them, let them know, hey, your homeowners is coming up for renewal in a month and a half. I got notice your renewal's going up by $1,400 versus last year. I'm already starting at looking at options to see if I can save you money somewhere else.
Okay, wow.
So
that's reassuring.
You got to be proactive on these things. You wait till the last minute. People are going to get upset, and they're trying to do all this stuff.
And they've got all kinds of people giving them different advice.
It's all about systems and all about, the protocols that you need to. And that what elevates us between being an agent and an advisor, because we're looking at long term and the whole picture.
Yeah.
So we make those phone calls in the morning. We take care of all that service stuff. We give updates to the clients on what's actually been done, solve the problems, and then we move on to calling the prospects and people that have been referred to us and doing that. But that way we don't have to work as hard either, because I don't have clients canceling all the time, where I have bigger pressure on me to write way more business because I got to make up for the people I lost. Right. If we can retain 85 to 90% of clients year over year, my growth can be steady, but it can be exponential. So, yeah. I've been doing this for a while. It's in my first rodeo.
We're very reassuring. Talking with you on the phone or in person is very reassuring.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice to hear.
Yeah. Is there anything else we haven't covered that you'd like to say?
Oh, let me see. What else? We do quite a bit of commercial insurance too.
Okay.
So if there's anybody out there that has multiple investment properties, we actually have a tool through one of our companies where it's very similar to that umbrella concept that we talked about, where suppose somebody has 8 to 10 investment properties. This product will actually allow us to take the collective value of the real estate, insure the real estate amount, rather than individual properties and having individual.
Yeah.
So how is that an advantage? If you sell one of those properties, we can just call the company and have it taken off.
Right.
It'll adjust the premium. If you buy another property, we can just give them new address and they will insure it to the same limits of what was on there with the other properties, and then adjust the premium on it.
Kind of like having multiple cars.
Yes.
On your auto insurance.
Yes.
You can take one off. You
Yes.
can, you know,
it's the
whatever.
same concept.
Okay.
And then we do everything you think of. We do car haulers, we do warehouses, we do nail salons, restaurants. We do just about everything you can think of. Those are more complicated policies. So I tell people, if your policy is within 15 days of being renewed, there's really not a lot of options that can get it done that fast.
Okay.
You really need to set yourself up 45 to 60 days ahead of time, so we can shop it properly, gather all the proper information, and the companies can do their due diligence to find the best product. But we do all that stuff. And then for self-employed, we have a lot of health insurance products, medical insurance products that are not in the marketplace.
Okay.
So health sharing plans, things like that. And we got a company called Philadelphia that works with United Healthcare and Aetna and all those different things. So we have the full array of things.
Okay.
And then life insurance. Everybody needs life insurance. You don't have life insurance, you need to get life insurance. It's very important.
So we have like term and also whole life.
Yeah,
is that what they're still called?
Yep.
Okay.
And then we also have annuities, which is what I've done for my kids and my grandkids, where it is a whole life policy that has an investment arm on it.
Yes.
So a good portion of the premium every single month. If you do that when they're young, when they get to be like 65, they'll find out that they've got, significant cash value that they can use. And whole life policies are a little bit interesting in the fact that I had a client a couple of years ago that called me all panicked because they didn't have a home warranty on their house and their air conditioner went out. And I said, let's see what the cash value is on your whole life policy. You can borrow against it. So we got them to write them a check. It decreases the face value. You're supposed to pay it back, but if your policy's $250,000 and you've got all this cash value in it, you need to borrow $8,000 for an air conditioning unit, you can get the money for that and actually save them to be able to get their air conditioning done on their replaced on their house. So there's so many different things, so many nuances to this product that I think, and I had this conversation with Ted, it probably is the most important product that everybody has to have that they know the least about. Insurance. So I don't know why anybody in the world would go online and trust a little lizard and create their own little policy. I just don't get that, because they really don't know all the things that they need. And I can get the same rate by doing it.
I did that several years
ago.
I wanted to see what it is, because people would tell me, I went online and I got my. So I went online and it came up, this big long list of here's all the similar, here's the company it's with, blah, blah. But then when I compared, it wasn't apples to apples.
No.
They were giving me like really cheap policies and saying, you'll save this much money. And I was like, that's horrifying.
That's how they've postured it. They're selling a payment, a premium. They're not selling coverage. So when I I do this analogy, and I promise this will be the last one.
Okay.
But whenever I'm talking to somebody about auto insurance, I say, I want you to think about auto insurance like going to Costco. Okay? So you usually buy your Frosted Flakes at Kroger, and you get one box.
Right.
It's $3.50. You go to Costco and you look at the shelf, and they've got 2 of them shrink wrapped together for $5.
Right.
And they got 3 of them shrink wrapped together for $7. And they got 4 of them or 5 of them shrink wrapped for $13. And you're looking at, well, I started with 1 for $3.50, now I got 5 for $13. Holy cow. That's kind of how insurance works on automobile insurance.
Okay.
It gets less expensive per $1,000 worth of insurance that you have. So if your state minimum policy at 30, 60, 25 with, let's just say Progressive, is $650 for the 6 months. And then we look at 3 times that at 100, 300, 100. So you have 3 times the liability coverage and 3 times the property damage coverage. And it's at $680. So you got $30 extra for the 6 months for that amount.
Wow. Now
we go to the level of 250, 500, 250. I'm giving you 8 times the coverage, and we're at $710. 60 more bucks for 6 months, 10 extra bucks a month,
Right.
2 visits to Starbucks.
Right.
And I've given you enough coverage to be able to protect you against running into anything out there. And when people look at it and understand it that way, why would you have the cheapest coverage policy that actually ends up being the most expensive policy you could ever own?
Right.
Because if something bad happens, you're going to end up like my receptionist whose tire came off on the freeway and is paying for the damage that was caused by that accident for the rest of her working life. It's too risky to carry cheap insurance, and there are companies out there that's all they sell, and it's people get it because they need a piece of paper to ride around in their car to show if they get pulled over by the police. Yeah. Or they get in an accident and they come to find out that, yes, I have insurance, but guess what? The company's only covering me to $30,000 and I got $180,000 worth of responsibility here. It ruins people's lives.
Right, it does.
And it's just because they don't take the time. The agent is more worried about making the commission and not taking the time to educate the client. And just those conversations, you can hear the gasp on the other end of the phone when you're talking to these people. Like, I had no idea. Well, no one's ever explained it to you properly. And
Yeah, you feel like you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Right.
You just don't know that what you're doing is wasting.
Well, you know, my wife made a pretty funny analogy a couple of months ago. We were talking about it. She goes, if you have a legal problem, you go see a lawyer, right? And she was talking to one of her friends about insurance, sending me their stuff for their insurance. She goes, if you have a legal problem, you go see a lawyer, right? And if you've got some strange mole thing going on in your arm, you go see your doctor, right? So why would you self-medicate or treat yourself by buying your own insurance and creating it on your own? Shouldn't you talk to somebody that is a specialist and know what they're talking about? And that's, to me, that's a really good analogy, because I'm licensed. Every 2 years I have to renew my license. I do constant continuing education all the time. Stuff comes up, and if I don't know, I go right to the carrier and find out. But I know so much more than the average person. And I can show them areas where they need to beef things up, or areas where they can save money and still get the coverage that they want for a palatable amount.